guys, I hope you're doing well today. I'm going to cover lesson 4.8 in your Go Math textbook, and we're going to start on page 167. This first video is going to be just that one problem on that very first page that we're talking about today, okay? Our lesson is called Divide Using Partial Quotients, and it is a lot like using multiplying two-digit numbers using partial products. It's just the opposite of that. And we've talked about that, about how subtraction is the opposite of addition and division is the opposite of multiplication. And so I'm gonna show you how to use this strategy, and that is just what it is, okay? It is a strategy. What your parents were taught and what I was taught in school, we weren't taught the strategy, okay? We were taught how to do what was called long division. It's now called standard algorithm, and that is the direction that we're moving in. And so if this helps you, then that's a good thing. If your parents are struggling to understand this and to try to understand why we're doing this, it is just to help you get a grasp of the conceptual idea of division. And I know that sounds like a big bunch of hoity-toity words, but anyway, it is just a strategy that will help introduce you to division, okay? And then we are gonna get to long division. But if your parents only know how to help you do long division, as they call it, or the way that we learned in school, then that's okay. Don't call them wrong, okay? I need you to be respectful and very kind to these parents and adults who are trying to help you right now, okay? All right, be good. Okay, so let's go over this problem. We're gonna do the real world problem. It's on page 167. It says, at camp, there are 5 players on each lacrosse team, and that's a sports team. If there are 125 people on lacrosse teams, how many teams are there? Okay, so when we see this word problem, first we have to make sure that we understand what the words are and what they mean and what we're being asked. And so what we know, the most important information we know, is that there are 5 players on each team, and there are 125 total players. And there may be some of you out there who've already done this mental math and you know exactly what the answer is already, because you know what number you can multiply by 5 to get 125. And if that's you, then that is awesome. You go. That's great. All right. So this is what our division problem would look like, okay? You would have 125. We would take our 125 people and we're going to divide them into 5. We're going to divide them by 5 because there are 5 players on each team. And so we don't know how many teams there are yet, and that is what we're trying to find out, which is our quotient. So this is what this looks like when we write this out as our division problem, especially when we're using partial quotients, the partial quotient strategy. So we have 125 players divided by 5 players on each team. Okay, they got to be in groups of 5. We just need to know how many groups there are. And so what I'm going to do is over here in this column, I'm going to find factors that when I multiply them by the factor 5, which is right here, they give me a number that's obviously less than 125, because we're trying to work our way up to 125, okay? All right, so I might say, for instance, and in your book, I think it gives you the example that the first partial quotient it would do, or the first factor it would find, is that I know that 10 times 5 is 50, okay? So that's going to give me 50, and I'm going to take this 50 and subtract it from this 125, okay? So I know I found 50 of those. I'm going to subtract here. 5 minus 0 is 5, and 12 minus 5 is 7. So now my new dividend is 75. So I need to find another factor that I can multiply by 5 to get close to 75. Well, I can just use the same one I already used, which would be 10. So if I do it again, 10 times 5, that's going to give me 50, of course, just like it did the first time. And then I can subtract another 50 from my dividend. 5 minus 0 is 5. 7 minus 5 is 2. Hopefully, this is very simple for you and you know, hey, I know what factor I can multiply by 5 to give me 25. And that would be 5. 5 times 5 equals 25. And so I'm going to take this 25 and subtract it from here, okay? 25 minus 25 gives me a big fat 0, which means I have no remainders, okay? And so now what we have to do is we take our partial quotients, these are the factors that we multiplied by 5 to get these numbers that we could subtract from over here, okay? These are called our partial quotients. And our partial quotients are 10, 10, and 5. 10 plus 10 is 20, plus 5 more is 25. And so my answer, my quotient, is 25, which means there are 25 players, 5 players on each lacrosse team. There are 25 teams that make up the 125 people total at camp, okay? I'm going to give you one more example really quickly. If our problem were $184 divided by 6, okay? And probably the way this might be written in your book would be like this, okay? And so this is how we write it out when we're getting ready to work it out if we don't automatically know what that answer is, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and draw my line here, and then this is where my partial products are gonna go. And I don't have to write that up there, I just did that on there to show you on the example. Okay, so let's see if I can figure out, what do I know? What is the largest factor, or the largest product that I can think of that I can come up with using the factor 6? So if I could do 6 times 10, that's pretty simple. 10s are easy, right? Okay, so even if it takes you doing several of these, that's okay too. So I'm gonna do 10 times 6, and that's gonna give me 60, which I need to come over here and subtract, okay? 4 minus 0 is 4, 8 minus 6 is 2. I've gotta bring this 1 down because actually that's 18 minus 6. Okay, so now I have 124. Well, what if I do another one? What if I do another 10 times 6? I'm going to subtract 60 from here, and that's going to give me 4 minus 0 is 4. 12 minus 6 is 6, okay? I can do it again. I still have enough left here that I can do another 10 times 6. 10 times 6 equals 60. So I can subtract another 60 from here. And 64 minus 60 is 4. Now, I know that 4 is less than 6, so there's not a factor that I can multiply by 6 in order to get 4. So this is going to be a remainder, okay? So I automatically know that I already have a remainder. But what I need to do is add these 3 numbers that are my partial quotients in order to get my full quotient. And I know that 10 plus 10 plus 10 is 30. So my answer for 184 divided by 6 would be 30, remainder 4. Okay, I hope that helps, and if you need to FaceTime with me or Skype with me or whatever, we can do that, okay? All that I really want you to do today is just practice a few of these, even if you want to go on to the next page and start working on those next problems and see how many you can do. But don't practice too many and without knowing for sure that you understand what you're doing, okay? I love you guys and I miss you so much and I wish I could be in class with you right now. Bye guys, love you.